All right, I think we're live. All right, welcome, everyone. My name is Nikal from Home and Garden Fix and Tricks. Welcome to my live. On this live, I am going to discuss the government's most recent wage offer to the Jamaica Teachers Association and by extension to the teachers of Jamaica. So I have a number that you can call in. The number is 876-286-0728. So that's 876. It's right behind me right here. It's 876-286-0728. You can call in to take part in the discussion, or you can also send your message via WhatsApp, and you can also participate in the chat. Now, as I said, the topic that up for discussion this evening is: should the government of should the teachers of Jamaica by extension the JTA accept the government most recent wage offer? Now, some of us may be watching as lay person, and they may not be aware of the government offer to the teachers of Jamaica. So I am going to take the opportunity to go through that. But before I do so, let me, what is it?
Oh, she not said they make a
Huh?
She not said that they make a wrong.
So what? Tell her to call me.
Oh, no, I see what she. Oh, now I see what she's saying.
What she said?
It's HOULD. Should. You're right. It's HOLUD.
Oh, well, an error is in the title, guys, but you have to understand that the phone that I'm using, it's very small, the screen, so when you're typing, and especially on the gimbal right now, it's difficult. All right, so it should. All right, so that is not a big problem. That is just a typo. All right, so the topic is: should the government offer be accepted by the JTA and the teachers of Jamaica? Is it so unreasonable that it is causing so much uproar and so much discomfort among teachers? It's a question worth asking. All right. So my thought on the whole matter, guys. Personally speaking, and this is my personal feeling now, right? Based on watching all the videos on YouTube with especially Mr. Clayton Hall from the JTA, and after engaging in that sensitization that they had on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of last week, in my humble opinion, I think the teachers of Jamaica should accept the offer. Now, I know that not many persons are going to, be in agreement with me, but I am a person of reason and logic and common sense. And I think that at this point, at where we are at this point, the government offer what they offer. The JTA asks for what they ask for. And I think at this point, we should accept. Now, let me give you the context in which I say we should accept. The negotiation started, what? A couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago, right? So we are negotiating for, and by the way, people, I am an educator. I'm a teacher for over 18 years. I teach agricultural science, right? And I am no new person to this thing. I am in here. I have given a lot of years to education. So I think I can speak comfortably on the topic, right? And of course, anyone who's watching this video want to say otherwise, they can always say otherwise. You can call in the number, you can text, and we will talk. Now, let me give you the context. The government would have proposed that they are going to compensate us in a different way. So in the past, what the government is proposing now is to give us a new compensation regime, right? And I think this is just the precursor to what the government term as performance-based pay. And that is what is done in most part of the world, right? So based on your output, you get paid based on your output. Now, I don't have a problem with that. right? Because I think that in any business, in the private sector, you, based on how you perform, based on how you work, that's how you are compensated. Is it going to be best suited for education and for government workers? Maybe not, but can it work? Yes, it can work. I think it can work. Now, in that framework, the government is saying that we want to change the way how we compensate our workers, right? How we pay our workers. So what the government is proposing is a new structure where they are removing most of the allowances and they want to put them in your basic pay. So, for example, these are some of the allowances that teachers are currently getting. In the education system alone, we have over 20 different allowances, right? But I'm talking about the common classroom teacher. And when I say common classroom teacher, the ordinary classroom teacher, we're talking about a person with a bachelor's degree, right? A first degree. So currently they are getting what you call a special teacher allowance. They get book and software allowance. Some teachers get protective clothing allowance. Depending on where you work, you get something that is called it's a special allowance of some rural schools. But those are the basic allowance. So it is special. It is a special teacher allowance, the book and software allowance, that makes up the bulk of the allowances for the common classroom teacher, or the word referred to as the ordinary classroom teacher, right? Otherwise, from that now you get your basic pay. So it is your basic salary, which is without saying much, because I don't want to put people's salary on blast now. But an average bachelor's degree teacher is taking home, for basic pay we're talking about now, anywhere from, I think it's like what is it? I think it's like 110,000 for basic pay. And that is I'm talking about a teacher who is just leaving teachers college. So they're talking about $110,000 per month. So if you multiply it by 12, you will get that. I think it's a little bit over $1 million, $1.something million. Plus their allowances. They are getting a special teacher allowance, which is, I think it's $28,000. And they are getting $14,500 or $14,000 thereabout for their book and software allowance. So if you add the special teacher allowance with the book and software allowance and the basic pay, the average teacher is taking home about 100. Take home salary I'm talking about now, not the gross, right? We're talking about after the taxes and so forth. It's taking about 140,000 Jamaican dollars, right? Now, that is chicken feed, if you ask me, But it is what it is, right? And if you ask me, as also, minimum wage in Jamaica is also chicken feed, and it is what it is, because here we are, a third world nation, barely surviving economically, right? So we have to talk about context. I know if you're going to compare America and say, well, the teachers in America, they are probably taking home $3,000 and blah, blah, blah. That is the American context. And every country is different. A dollar in a man country is a dollar. Now, is that $140,000 for a teacher just coming in the system? Is that adequate? I would say it is adequate. All right? It's not. You can barely survive. But guess what? If you are disciplined enough, and by disciplined enough, I mean that if you stay away from taking loans, high interest loans, some of us teachers have a very high appetite for loans. I know, because I have loans, right? And I'm speaking from in the past, because I am at a better place now in terms of how I perceive economics and so forth, and so forth. But it can work. If you pinch it and make it work, it can work. Because some of us were running away to US to live. When we go on contract, right? And whatever money they give us, it only makes sense when you take it back to Jamaica. If you should live in America, and you can't live a comfortable life on a teaching salary. So everywhere you go in the world, the context I'm putting it things into though. Teachers are usually paid towards the bottom of the scale. Now, this led me to a point that I want to talk about people, teachers, Jamaicans, because persons that are watching, they are not necessarily teachers. I heard an argument, and I said this is a straw man argument. I don't want the computer to sleep. It's a straw man argument, and the argument is a lot of teachers are saying that, well, the nurses are getting X amount of money, the police, they are getting X amount of money, the other sectors of government, for example, those persons in customs and immigration, they are getting upwards of $3 and $4 million. Why teachers can't get a basic pay of $3 million, and we're not going to accept? People, we have to look in things. We have to look on things from a realistic point of view. Not all degrees. They are saying that them go to college, them go to university, go spend 4 years. Me go to university, and I'm a teacher, go spend 4 years as well. No, don't try. I'm not trying to speak from an emotional point of view, guys. I'm talking from facts, right? No, notice how calm maybe when I come here and use emotions into things now. Not all degrees are the same. I must tell you that, teachers, and I'm speaking directly to you now. Not all degrees are the same. Not because you spend 4 years in university doing a degree and I spent 4 years in university doing a degree. It doesn't mean that you have the same quality of degree to begin with or the same weight of degree. Meaning that if I do a degree in mathematics and computers engineering, I am going to be able to command a greater incentive and a greater pay at the end of the day versus a person who just do a English, a degree, a first degree in language or a first degree in ordinary mathematics teaching. Right? Classroom teacher. You're not going, a person who's doing a degree in logistics versus a person who's doing a degree in engineering versus a person who's doing a degree in, say, agricultural science. They are totally different. So not all degree have the same. So we can't be comparing and looking over the fence on the nurses and say, well, the nurses are getting X, so we need to get X. The nurses are working into a different environment than us teachers. Some of us work on shift. Right? Some of us, when we go to school, 7 o'clock in the morning, we leave by 12 as teachers I'm talking about. The nurses have to go and spend all day. Some of them have to work overtime. Their condition, you ever been to Jamaica hospital? It's messy. You understand me? So their working condition is different. Would we like to get the same pay and even more? Of course. And we argue for that all the while. And that is why we have the collective bargaining process to ask for more salary, because we always can get more. Because in truth and in fact, it is the teachers that make the nurses and makes all of us in the private and the public sector possible. So teachers are very, very important, right? And so therefore we should be equally compensated. But the reality of the system is that at this moment the government is saying that we can't afford to pay you more. No. Affordability. Let's just look at the money. The government is saying that you have a limited amount of cash. We are not operating in a framework we can afford to give you that. You're going to burst the budget way open. When I speak to some educators, they are saying that, Mr. Mark, I don't want no more, no less than 250,000 Jamaican dollars. No, when that is after tax, right? That would be good enough. Because you can't be moving from 140. I'm talking about the teachers now who are at the first year, just leaving teachers college. Sorry about the lighting, guys. Right? Jaden, remember I'm doing my live, JJ. So you have to be a little bit more quiet. Alright, guys. So me have my boys them in also. Forgive them if you hear them in the background from time to time. So we're coming from $140,000 take home, right? For the teacher who's just entering the system. And this is not a direct figure. It can be a little bit more, it can be a little bit less, right? But on average. To $250,000. So you think the government is going to give you $110,000 extra on your pay? Be realistic. This is not going to happen. Nowhere in the world would this happen unless the country automatically get rich overnight and decide to pay us a lot more. So some persons are saying that within not the JTA hierarchy. I'm talking about like the delegates and so forth. When I go on the ground and I speak to some persons on the ground, that is totally unrealistic. So how negotiations really conducted? The government would have said, okay, JTA, I have this through the Ministry of Finance. This is what we have to offer. Or the JTA would make a claim on the government, a wage claim, to say, we want X, we want Y, we want Z. All of what we have now as teachers, we want to maintain it and we want 50% increase. The government will then come back with a counter offer to say, no, we can't do that. We'll give you that and we'll give you that. But at the end of the day, when everything is settled, we fall somewhere within the middle. You have to give and take. That's how negotiations are done, right? That is how it is conducted. You can't just be over there sticking out that this is what you want, and just because you give persons over there that is what we want. We have to look at where we are at now, right? So I am at 140,000 word speaking take home pay. I want 20 more percent, 30 more percent. Realistically, the government will say, no, I can't give you 30 or 40%, I can give you 25%. It's either I'm going to take it or we continue to negotiate to see where we can have a common ground, and that's where we are. All right? So I hope I put certain things into perspective. Now, This is the conversation and the fairness that we as educators we are not having. Every year, a teacher get what you call a thing there. Uh, they have a movement in their salary. Even outside of negotiation, where's negotiation? They have what they call an increment, right? So every year, every teacher in Jamaica get an increment. You move up, you move up financially a little bit. Now, the increment is calculated based on a percentage of your total salary. So you move up about 2 to 2.1 to 2.2% there about average every year. So if I'm at $100 this year in say for example in 2021 I was at $100 for my pay. The government in 2022 will give me $2 extra. And then by the following year, I will get another 2%. So I'll maybe get another $3. And then I get another $4. So every year the government move the salary of its workers in an increment, give you an increment on your salary. And that is just an inflationary adjustment because people, a lot of teachers don't know about inflation. You know, and this is inflation, and this is what is killing a lot of us. People, I challenge you, I urge you to go do your research. Inform yourself. Know what your union and what your representatives are doing. So that inflationary adjustment is just to cushion you. Because people may say, what is inflation? It is just the purchasing power of the dollar. And every year it devalues to some extent. Sometimes it can be 10%, sometimes it can be 1%, because in 2021, inflation was 5.1%. In 2022, the following year, because of the whole COVID thing, it was running at 9%, 9.2, 9.3%. So over the year 2021, 2022 to 2023, we have an average inflation of about 8.5%, thereabout. Don't quote me on it, but an average thereabout. So it simply means that if $100 used to buy a bread, if you used to buy a bread in 2021 for $100, the same $100 now cannot buy that bread 3 years after. You would have lost, the $100 would have lost its value, approximately 8.5%. So it will lose $8.5 of its value. So $100 in 2021 is now value $8.50 less. So you're getting like $92, $91 thereabout. Pardon my maths. For that same $100. So if you have money in the bank account, if you have $10,000 in your bank account in 2021, it is value less now in 2023. That's how inflation goes. So when the government give increase, or when JTA asks for increase on these unions, they are taking inflation in account and saying that the rate of inflation cumulatively over the 3-year period would have been 5.1 in 21, 8 approximately, or 8.5 in 2022, and the projected inflation for 2023 during 2024 would be about, say, 8%. Right? So we could say 8 and 5, that's around 13, plus another, say, 6 or 7, because 2024 is, we are not into 2023, 2024 yet. The financial year is not yet started, so we don't know what it may be. But let's just say come out to 7%. So that will run about, say, 18% cumulatively over the period. So it means that our salary would be, we as teachers, we as government workers, would be worse off approximately 18%. So we're going to be worse off approximately 18%. So if the government is saying, I want to give you a minimum of 20% increase over this 3-year period, realistically speaking, the government is just giving you 2% increase, just 2. But remember, I said no, the government gave us that 2% every year. So you'd have to minus those 2. 2 in 2021, 2 in 2022, 2 in 2020, that's 6. So although you say it's 18, realistically cumulative inflation wouldn't be calculated at 18%. It would have been more of, like I said, 12, 10% thereabout. So if the government is giving us 20% salary increase and inflation is 10 or 12%, realistically we are just getting 8%. It will be 8% that we are getting. So let us say, for ease of mathematics, that we are getting 20% because the government is saying no. I am going to ensure, this is what the government says to the JTA in writing, because I have the memorandum of understanding. It says, I am going to give you, teachers, a minimum over 3 years of 20%. It no means say it's going to give just 20% in a minimum. So you're going to have some persons who is going to take home 30. Some person is going to take home 31. Some person is going to take home 25 based on where you fall. But you're not going to be lesser than 20%. It would have mean that the government realistically is going to give us, after you take out inflation and everything, about 10% increase. Now, is 10% increase adequate? No, I wouldn't say it is adequate. But can we work with it for now? Yes, we can work with the 10% for now, because it simply means that by 2023, 2024, we'll be in another rounds of negotiation. We're not going to be set indefinitely at this 10%. So we're not looking to get that 10% for the rest of our lives or for the rest of this 10 years or 5 years. It is just 3 years. And the government is saying, in light of what is happening in the world, the economics of the world, the economic situation, what is happening with what happened with COVID, what is still happening with COVID, what happened with the Ukraine war and everything, the destabilization of some countries and economics and economies, the government is saying, we can able to give you this amount right now. And as I said before, I am a fair man. And those who know me know that I am a fair person. So I think that realistically we can accept. We can accept. Some persons, some teachers are saying that I am going to be worse off. And I used to get this allowance and I used to get that allowance and I am not getting it anymore. The government is saying nobody will be worse off. And we know this, politicians are hard to believe, especially when they come from the finance minister. It's hard to believe because sometimes the finance minister don't really have that large amount of credibility. But credit must be given where credit is due. And we have to give credit to Mr. Nigel, Dr. Clark, right? In promise, and so far I'm fulfilled. So, teachers, that's what. Realistically, we say about 10% after you take out inflation and whatever. Can we live with it? I personally think, yes, we can. We can, especially those persons at the bottom of the bands, like band 1, band 2, band 3, band 4, the bachelor's degree. Talking about from pre-train coming up, teacher aid coming up. Those persons will get the bulk of the increase. That is another thing what the government is saying. They are talking about equity and equality. They are saying that if you are at the top of the scale, or even closer towards the top, like a VP or a principal, you are already getting a high salary already, right? So the government is saying that we're not going to give you the same 30 or 31% as the persons who are at the bottom of the scale. We're going to give them more in terms of the percentage and give you less in terms of percentage. But at the end of the day, the person at the top will take home ultimately more pay, because look at it, guys. If a VP is getting $1,000, and this is just for mathematics now, if a VP is getting 1,000 Jamaican dollars and you give them 20% increase, the VP now will get an additional $200 to take home. That's 20%, You can't give a classroom teacher who's getting $100. Remember, the classroom teacher now is getting $100. The VP is getting $1,000. Right? You can't give the classroom teacher 20%, because 20% of $100 is $20. So the classroom teacher will be taking home the total value of $20 while the VP taking home $200. 10 times greater, 1,000% more. So even though they are getting a lesser percentage towards the top of the band, they are still going to be in a better position than us, who are the classroom foot soldiers. So the government is saying, for equity and equality, we plan to give the larger percentage increase to those persons who are at the bottom of the band versus those at the top. And it baffles me to know that you have teachers that say, why can't the government give everybody 30%? The government could not give everybody 30%. Because it simply means if you give a man $1,000, if you're paying a man $1,000, you give him 30%, and you're paying a man $100, then you give him the same 30%. Where is the equity? Where is the equity in that? All you're doing is push the person at the top further towards the top, and the person at the bottom further towards the bottom. And that is why the government is reforming this compensation review. They're doing this compensation review, restructuring, and saying that we want to address it from an equity and an equality perspective. We can't give everybody the same percent increase, but we plan to say we're going to give the persons at the bottom a larger percentile in terms of the increase than the persons at the top. But at the end of the day, everybody will go home with a little bit more. The government is also proposing that they move most of the allowances. Now, teachers, listen to this one. Allowances are allowances. if teachers are getting $100 for their basic pay, and you're getting another $100 for allowances, you get your total salary will be $200, right? Follow me now. $100 for your basic pay, $100 for your allowance. Most of the allowances that we as teachers are currently getting, we're not talking about the new package of the government, that we're currently getting are taxable allowances. Them not tax free. So they have been taxing them anyways. Some of them are tax-free allowances, but most of them are taxable allowance. So if the government is now saying, I am going to do away with the allowances, with most, if not all of the allowances, most the government has proposed, it's getting dark. And what I plan to do, or what I propose to do from the government perspective now, is to roll in those allowances into your salary. So you're going to put them in your basic pay. Teachers have a problem with this. And the reason why they have a problem with it is because they are saying that, well, everything about tax now, and government are going to take back most of it in taxes. Yes, you are correct in some way. But listen to this now. We have to really and truly do the maths. The government already moved the tax threshold. Angela Oles led government move it in 2015, 2016 to 1.5 million. They proposed to move it to 1.8. They never materialized and put it to 1.5. So if you're getting $1.5 million per year for your pay, currently, you are not paying any income taxes. Once you're getting that or below, you're not paying any income taxes. None at all. So if the government put these additional incentives, these additional allowances now into your salary, you may start to pay a little income tax. But it is not going to be much because the government is not taxing all of the entire 150,000 or 200,000 you're getting per month. It is just a percentage, which is just $1.5 million of that per year. So if you're getting $2 million per year for your salary, the government is not taxing the entire $2 million. The government is only taxing $500,000. Only $500,000 you will pay tax on. The rest of your salary will be tax free. Which is the government did that, You remember that? Right? So, how it benefit? How does moving all of your allowances into your salary benefit you as a teacher? I tell you what benefit you now. You see, when you, especially those persons who are near retirement, you see, when you retire, you get 75% of your basic pay for your what do you call it? Your pension. You get 75% for your pension. So if you were getting $100,000 for your basic pay, you're only going to get $75. Even though you have another additional $100 to use to get in a rate of allowance, you won't be getting allowances because when you retire, you don't get allowances. So if you retire with the current system, you're getting $100 per month, and you retire. When you retire, you're only going to get $75 per month, same way. Which way, if the government roll in the allowances and call it everything salary, basic pay, you will get 75% of the $200,000. See the math? You see the benefit? And I can bet you most persons never look at it like that. Right? So you will be benefiting, even though you will be paying more or a little bit more than you used to pay in taxes. In taxes, you will still be better off. You will be in a better position. These are the things that I think the JTA, especially Mr. Clayton Hall, needs to explain more. Not that saying that he's not explaining, because he's all over the place, all over YouTube. If you type in, you will see him in videos explaining these things in his house, in normal polo shirt like comedy, so now I explain. He's doing that. But as educators, we are so, this is the word I'm looking for. We don't tend to go out there and look for the information to inform us. We wouldn't mind somebody carry the information, come and spoon feed me. Me then at the system, so I know, and I'm speaking for everybody, because I can't everybody me talk about. Because you have the teachers them out there like myself who do their own research and them do them thing. But the majority of teachers, they are too comfortable and they are not going out. And it is reflective in their DA, The DA, we talk about the district association. So the JTA, all over the island, of what they call the DA, right? Their district association. So I think they have like maybe 100 and something. So much, I don't remember. Don't quote me on it. But they have a lot of district association. So different district association will have different schools. They are coming like the constituencies and the MP and so it works. So for example, my DA now having 19 schools, right? And we have 15, each DA have a maximum of 15 delegates, and these 15 delegates will vote, right? That's how it works. Some teachers don't go to DA meeting, some don't, right? So we have a breakdown from the JTA hierarchy to the people on the ground. There's a disconnect, and that is why we have the problem. That's why another teachers that say, me I go withdraw my membership and blah blah blah. And who me have to blame? Me have to blame the JTA, and me have to blame the teachers. Because the JTA have a responsibility, and likewise the teachers also have a responsibility. The teacher's responsibility is to know where the DA meeting is going to be kept and go attend. If you are at a particular school, your principal or your vice principal can't tell you they can't go to the DA meeting. All you have to do is to tell them in advance that, Miss or Sir, I have DA meeting on Thursday or on Friday and I would like to go. And you make preparation and you go. Right? And you let your voice be heard and you become a part of the movement so that when decisions are made, it is not made in vacuum and outside of you being informed. Because when you speak to a lot of teachers, they are misinformed. They come and you say, oh, they're not going to strike and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And you say, what are you going to strike for? Why are you voting no? They can't tell you. What happened in the last sensitization? They can't tell you. And we look stupid as educators. I'm telling you, I'm calling out the teachers. Whenever time things like these happen, we look stupid. The entire teaching fraternity looks stupid, like we don't know what we're asking for. And we are divided, right? And the center cannot hold. Things fall apart. Anarchy. That's how we look. Because look at it now. The teachers, the JTA made an offer, right? To the government of Jamaica. The government of Jamaica said, I can't give you all of them things, so I'm willing to give you these. The last conference in
Excuse me.
yes.
There's a call.
Is a call?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to take a call. Even though it's not time to take the call, but I'm going to take the call from Chanel. I have Chanel right here. Yes, Miss Wright, I'm going to put you on speaker. That's right. Good evening.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you clear.
Alright, so because you were saying, I'm getting a lot of information from you and I appreciate all the information.
Okay.
But it's like with some of the things that you're saying,
Right.
I don't know if it's because may I suffer from one disease called bad enteritis or something. So it's like me can't really comprehend, what happened.
Right.
Alright, I understand what you're saying about the government made a commitment that no teacher will be in a worse position than they were before.
Right.
But in the back of my head, I cannot help but wondering if like them do them research and they see how much we are taking home based on how much it is for you to really live a fulfilling life. I'm not talking about with the excess. I'm not talking about going to the supermarket and buying different types of cheeses and buying yogurts and all of these goodies to make your fridge look good. I'm talking about buying the necessities with the pay that we are currently getting. Going to work, going to school, not being able to do little extras that we usually could do. Like when I was younger, my auntie could have sell our biscuit and may I come there? Our biscuit, our little stuff them just to help out a penny when on a lunch money sometime, or if you even pay our own fare to go to work. So all of that is cut out. So it's like I'm thinking about it and me know say them sit down up there and them laugh and them say, oh, them manage with a little bit of money. And it is evident if you go into any town, you can basically pinpoint the teachers because of them have the button shoes. I'm not talking about teachers who have a good life, like they had family money or they find one spouse where can basically maintain that certain lifestyle. I'm talking about the regular teacher.
True.
You can identify her by her lunch bag, the tear up stocking, the broke down shoes, the outdated clothes which she had tried to put together to look, the outdated hairstyles. Remember, we are missing from all of this conversation the worth of a teacher. And me now will say anybody should look on me, Chanel, right? And talking about me being a teacher, but the teacher's role and a whole.
Right.
What we are currently getting, it is very hard for us to pay our bills.
Right.
Loans, yes, we do. Why most teachers take loans? Because we need to. We are in a position where we can get it easily. So you have microfinance companies that target teachers because they know if a teacher not care or nothing. So if you have a child going to university, your pay can't send her in a bus. You have to go get a loan. If you have a business idea, your pay not have nothing left in that. Me hear you talk, and there are so many things running through my mind, so I'm going to talk about heap of things. Me hear you run about, they are talk about like what a teacher is getting. So I'm going to talk about me.
Right.
$31,000 per month for rent. Like be like $15,000. How much we reach?
15, that's $46,000.
I'm going to talk this load by your line because maybe people will have an understanding. Then we talk about the internet. I had to downgrade because I had $7,000 at first, and I had to downgrade. After COVID, I downgrade because I never really needed to push that one.
So we're at what? 46, we said? 31? 46, so 31 plus, what you say? 15?
31 plus 15.
So 46. How much for your internet?
40. And the internet now, put it about 3,000 something.
Alright, so that's 150. So call it 50, roll it after 50.
Water rate, 5,000.
5,000, $55,000. We're at.
Okay.
Transportation. 55. Transportation. How much you pay for that?
So as a teacher, when I moved to my location, I strategically chose to live here because it is close to work. So when me not have no fear, as a teacher, me have to worry about when me not have no fear, me can walk, go work and not be absent. So I don't pay for transportation. So
but factor in something, give and take. Maybe $15,000, right? For calculation purpose. So we're at 55, so that's what? $70,000. Yeah. Food.
And then, all right. You have children because you're a big woman, so we don't like to never. Some of us don't.
Right.
If we don't have children, then we have family members. So I have an 18-year-old daughter who is going to UTech. We don't put food in there, say it.
Right. So when you factor food, maybe another $30,000. So you're talking about 100 and maybe $510,000 thereabout, right? Right.
And the food is not going to be 30 because if I go to the supermarket mountain and I spend $27,000, I am going to have to go back to get things in between.
Right.
Remember, maybe put it at 40 because I 2 away. And then we talk about like some little spending fee buy one little extra or whatever. So
right, miscellaneous. So you may end up sick. You go to the doctor. Something might come up unforeseen. So
no, you never put that in a mind. Yeah, well, you can put that in.
Another $10,000 to $15,000. So how much you gone now? 101. You're reckoning with my chin. How much you gone?
Oh.
130. We gone 130. Me lose track. But anyway,
yeah. Put in the school fee because the penny not just there eat food,
Right.
And I use the income and I use it like water. The penny have to go to school. So make me put in the school fee per semester, which is the first semester $208,000. Then you put in the fare for the child to go to school. Because the child have to go. Then you put in the little extra where the child needs to go back to school. School and shoes, whatever. No wonder teacher can't buy one new suit September morning. So we were on.
And that is why I said, Chanel, that is why I said to you earlier on that I agree that what we're getting is not enough to offer us a comfortable life, but we have to understand that we were actually surviving on what most of us were surviving. Well, all of us are surviving so far.
We were not surviving.
Hold on, Chanel.
That is why you have a breakdown in education because here are one. You see a teacher. People need to understand the importance of teachers. You see, whereas a nurse can go to work and be stressed financially, and she can say, okay, I am going to do some hours, no matter how rough it is. A teacher cannot do that. We have to carry on with work every week.
All right, can I put in a little bit now because you talk a long time now, Chanel. Let me say something now, please. Let me say something now. So as I said before, that we were surviving, and the little that we were getting. The sad situation. Well, that is your opinion. That is your opinion. I was surviving on the little bit that I was getting, and I am saying to you, it is not the best. Sometimes I have to pinch and twist and turn to make it work, but it was working to some extent. It was working. Now, I am saying there is nowhere in the world that government is going to go into a negotiation with a set of workers, and the government is going to be able to give them a large amount of percentage increase, as if that some of us are proposing. So, based on what you're saying, your salary reach about $160,000 a year. It could run up into 200 in the $200,000 category. Realistic. No, realistically, the government would not be able to pay us that amount. It is just the reality. So what I'm saying now, we have to look at
Why is it the reality though? You're telling me that it is the reality, but why is it the reality?
It is a reality because Chanel.
The government was able to give other persons, I'm not bad, I don't like my bad mind or anything them for them increase. I mean, no, so whatever increase them get, it's still about tough on them. But I'm saying,
yes,
if you are going to look at teachers and give them this and no, so they are still going to be financially stressed based on all of the studies we want to do as people in a jacket and tie will have the highest honors in a degree or whatever it may be. You know that this is not going to, no matter how you say 2%, we are, if I'm going to give it 2%, we are struggling by 10. So yes, and I make it a little better, but don't make me feel like we're not doing a big favor, because at the end of the day, every profession comes out of teaching.
Yeah.
And if you are sending your children to school and the teachers are not comfortable, there is no way teachers are human being. You're going to expect a teacher to worry about bill if I can take our items, our water commissioner can cut off our water and teach your children effectively.
Yes.
That is all I am saying.
Yes, and you made and Miss Wright, you have made your case.
With your full alpha, because your alpha, when you are trying to make it look like a something good, it is not all that glorious. I'm a blame JTA too.
Yeah, and Miss Wright, calm down a little bit. We can't spend the entire evening because we must have a show and we have other persons who may want to call in and text messages. So we have to kind of cut it. So you have made your case, Miss Wright, and let me just allow me now to respond to you. And I am responding to you and to many teachers like you who are passionate. My God, this person calling me and say that I keep on hanging it up and them still a call. Or some people determine so. My God.
Let them come on.
No, but this call is not towards. I know the person who is calling, and I'm hanging up the phone 3 times straight now, and they're still calling. Mighty God, I hope it's not an emergency, and I'm sure that it is not an emergency, because I know why. But anyway, point I am making, everybody, is that realistically, the government will not be able to pay us a greater amount of increase because of the current economic situation that we are living in. Remember, we just come out of COVID. Remember, in my monologue, I spoke about. Well, I know Chanel, man. If we are going to Chanel,
increase it, but why can you afford it to them and not us?
To who? To who are you referring to?
Everybody else.
But Chanel, I am saying.
And we are the only profession that takes our work home, cannot do overtime, and barely. The incentives where did for we are the allowances is right across the board. So if a teacher is there that is working her ass off, trying because she loves her job, at some point she's going to get demotivated. To what end? I see too much of my schoolwork and them stress. One come to school and teach and cannot teach because they're in so much financial problem. I'm not calling for myself because I don't have no teacher friend with a hot girl per se. We can't buy lace wig, we can't go party, go class. We live within the means and we still struggle. So to what end?
I know. And guess what? Mr. Wright, this is just the reality of, and it may sound a little bit crude, but it is the reality. The reality of the situation is some of us are going to have to retool and look and reassess our life and transition to greater things and to other things, because it is just the reality that exists on the ground.
So for me, can you give me a head start then, or tell me something that I could possibly do then?
No, this show is not for that, Miss Wright. We can speak on another forum about that.
Oh, you're going to tell me to go into some business. Where do I get the money from if not alone?
All right, Miss Wright? Because that is just the reality. The reality of the situation is the government is operated inside of an economic framework. They have a budget, there's a limited amount of funds that the government have to spend. And so therefore, even though we would want teachers to get 100% increase tomorrow morning and to get motor vehicle allowances at 50%.
No, I'm not asking.
And all of that.
For a 100% increase, Mr. McCullough. I am only asking.
All right, can I ask you a pointed question, Miss Wright? Can I ask you a pointed? No, can I ask you a question, Miss Wright?
Sure.
What percentage figure or what dollar figure you will be comfortable with? Tell me that.
I can't give you a pinpoint of figure, but you see, as long as I can pay my basic bills and provide for my child the way that I go to school and I try to cater to. So you see, the same way when me go to school and other parents send them to come to school in my care and I can teach them, I want to be able to send my child to school.
And can I say that? Can I say something to you now, Miss Wright? Can I say something to you now?
Wait, man.
No amount. As a person who I am just a lay person in economics. I am not trained in economics, even though I did it in college to some extent. But as a lay person, no one would be totally ever satisfied with the pay that they are getting. You're always going to need more. I know why you're going to need more. Because the more we get our salary increases, the more our standard and our cost of living is going to increase. Today, if you get hold on, Miss Wright. Miss Wright. Miss Wright.
Stop make teachers to the laughing stock of society when we are the persons that push forward all other professions.
Miss Wright, if we're going to continue, Miss Wright, we have to have a respectful debate. You're going to allow me to speak and then you speak. We're going to do it like that.
Okay.
So I am saying, no matter how much more increase we get, our cost of living, our standard of living is going to increase. And so therefore, most if not all of that money will use up. In other words, if a teacher used to drive a Pro Box now, word speaking, and they get 50 or 100% increase, tomorrow they maybe want to drive a nicer car. And they may want to stop eat chicken on a Sunday and eat oxtail more. And so therefore, the living standard is going to increase and you're going to be in the same problem. What we should do as educators and as everybody is to use to be a little bit more thrifty with our lifestyle and to use what we are getting to the best of our ability to make it work. Because guess what? We are not operating in an endless amount of cash situation. It's a limited amount of resources. We're a very poor, we're not a poor country, but in terms of the economics of the country, it is in a place where we have to tread carefully and we have to give thanks. I mean, look at so many other countries in the world, even within the same Caribbean space here, who are way worse off as a result of COVID and what is happening in the rest of the world. So we have to give thanks. We have a lot to give thanks for, and at the same time, we have to be reasonable in what we ask for. Because we can't be getting $150,000 now, right? And going into a negotiation, we want 50 and 60% increase. It is unfair, knowing that over the years we have always gotten a smaller increase. It is unfair, and it is unfair to ask the government to say, because the nurses are getting that and because the persons at customs are getting that, we want the same. And I made the point earlier on that not all degrees are the same. You may spend the same 4 years, but they carry different weight and they carry different levels of remuneration based on the industry in which you are. So that is why I said to you that some of us teachers have to look at transitioning outside of the classroom. It is just the reality. It's just the reality. So thank you, Miss Wright, because I have
I have something to close and say, and then I will go.
All right.
So I am not speaking of the teacher who come into the profession and expect to stop eat chicken and start eat oxtail. I am speaking as a teacher who, when we deliver my mother also did run one bar, you could have named oxtail and know that I am a teacher. I am struggling to buy a piece of oxtail. So if oxtail price go up, she's allergic to it because I cannot afford it. So I'm not speaking as that teacher. I am speaking as the teacher who is living within her means and still finding it difficult to cope after you spend your years at college and you do whatever, you go out there and do your best, you carry on the work and you reach, you go to school, you turn mother, father, friend, teacher, everything the people pick me. That is what I am saying. Value our work. Have a wonderful evening, Mr. McCullough.
And same to you, Miss Wright. And thank you very much for your lovely interaction here. Thank you very much. All right, guys. So that was Miss Wright, always riveting and passionate about her money. But a lot of us are, but at the same time, we can't use, and I'm not saying that she's emotional, but to some extent, a lot of emotion was there a while ago in that exchange. But you have to be a little bit more balanced. You have to look at it because it's a negotiation, so you have to look at both sides, right? The JTA asks for something, the government say I can't give you this. And this is what I was going to before Miss Wright called in. I was going to show you the progression of the negotiation from say last year 2022 or the 2022 last year and where we are now. We are at a far place in terms of where we started. And Mr. Clayton, I'll explain this on another program. We are at a far place in terms of going closer to what we want. When we started out, the government took away most of our allowances. Now, we retain some of those allowances. Like, for example, teachers with special responsibility. A lot of teachers, when you speak to them, they say, oh, the government will take away teacher with special responsibility. No, the government is not. They originally proposed to do it. But just like the law that they passed the other day with the seat, with the public passenger transportation required to have child seat. Once I heard it, I said, this is foolishness. It can't happen. And they roll it back. They conceded to it. So when the government, through the Ministry of Finance, proposed to take away teachers with special responsibility and roll everybody into one, I said this can't work because if you remove your middle manager, then the education system is going to collapse. You can't ask a teacher, for example, who's an HOD, to manage and mark the lesson plans of the other teachers, and you're not going to pay them. It don't work. Then where is the motivation? Where is the incentive? So these things are common sense. But if it was allowed, if it was left to the government alone, we would have gotten less, and that is why we have the value of the JTA. So when you hear people say, oh, the JTA this and the JTA that, me cost them to, I say, I'm checking for withdraw my membership and blah, 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 but from another perspective, not from this one, all right? You need the representative, you need your union, because if we never have the JTA, most of what we are having now, but most of what we have now, we wouldn't have. All of what we have on our payslip now, all the benefits that we have, it's because of the actions of the JTA over the years and subsequent negotiation that we have in negotiation cycles. It is because of the JTA where we have them. So the union have some value. It have a lot of value. And if the government should see us in a disarray and divided, the government is going to say, yes, this is what I want, so that I can use them and give them any little thing. So we need the JTA, guys. So where we are in terms of the last conference that we had in February, I think it was February 3rd or February 4th, right? At the Woolman's school. The JTA asked for an 8-point proposal. I really not a proposal, but they have some concerns, and they have 8 concerns that they took to the government. And out of the 8, the government conceded on 5. Listen to me again. The JTA body that represent us, all of us, rank and file teachers, said to the government, these, based on the conference of the delegate conference that we have, these are the 8 concerns that we have. And the government addressed 5. They have conceded to 5 of them. Right? And I'm going to see if I can pull them up, because they are on this phone. And if I can't, bear with me, because I should have them on the computer, but you know how it goes sometimes, right? But off the top of my head, I'm going to see if I can tell you them, right? Let me tell you the 3 that the government declined on or rejected, right? So they reject to move primary principal 1 to upward on the band. For the layman now, the government pays based on a band system. So you have band 1, band 2, band 3, band 4, band 5, band 6, band 7, band 8, band 9, 10, 11. I think it's 11 bands now, as it currently proposed. So they wanted to move up from band 7 to band 8. And then another group wanted to move from band 8 to band 9. The government has declined. Brain Lake, so it's a good night. Good night, good night. Brain Lake life, good night. The government declined on those to move them up a particular band. No, people. If you ask for 8 things, and you get 5 out of the 8, remember, it's a give and take. You win some, you lose some. You come to a common ground and you agree. What is it that we know as a body going to go back coming Wednesday to vote on? We're going to reject. Imagine that you get, and I use the analogy, that imagine you go home and you ask your wife to cook dinner for you as a man. And your wife cook a nice dinner, you know. And because your wife forget to put the vegetable on it, or forgot to give you the juice with the dinner, you decline the dinner, you know, you say you don't want the dinner. Because of just 3 things. You ask for 8 and you get 5, 3 outstanding. And the 3 outstanding not even affect the majority of who you represent. Because VPs, and I say this without apology, I don't care who wants vex, VPs does not make up the largest portion of teachers. They are a small minority who are already getting, and I'm using the word loosely now, a comfortable salary. They're already getting a better salary than most us, the teachers. So why is it that all of us should sacrifice for the small percentage of VP? Why? Who are not suffering? Vice principal not suffer. And if they tell them so they want to suffer, I lie them and tell me telling them so they not suffer. Because when you're going to any school and you're going to the car park and them drive the best car, them not suffer. Classroom teachers are the one who are suffering, as the Miss Wright alluded to earlier on. Right? We are the foot soldiers. We are getting a little bit down the bottom, down the sun. VP not suffer. So I'm going to say, why is it now we should hold this out, drag this out for VP, and VP not even come at DA meeting? When we have DA meeting, VP don't come. And the common classroom teacher, the foot soldiers are them there at the DA meeting. So why should I vote with the interest of the VP? I am voting in my interest because if the government is saying, as a classroom teacher, I am going to get upwards of 30%, 31% increase over a 3-year period. I may see where I can live with this. Then I accept. Why am I going to hold it out? So the government give the JTA 5 of the things that they asked for. 5. They said, yes, we will move work experience teacher from band 4 to band 5. That's 1. They said that we're going to up the pay in terms of the payment for band 4 for bachelor's training. They did that. They said that we're going to retain teachers with special responsibility. Then retain that. They said we are going to retain the protective clothing allowance. Then retain that. So why is it now we are going to strike and call for sitting and industrial actions for 3? You know, I don't see it. I don't see it. I am not in agreement with it. Because if the VPs are the ones who claim to say them want this, because moving up one band, you know, it's just maybe $300,000 or $400,000 extra that they're going to get per year. When you divide that by 12, how much you think it's going to be? $10,000, $15,000, $12,000 thereabout. So I am going to stop the progress of the majority of the people, the foot soldiers who are on the ground, for a small percentage of VP, who for another $15,000, who are not, they are not suffering. I am telling you people, VP is not suffer. I mean, I get a lot of flack for this, but I just saw it go. They might go beat me bad, but I just saw it go. And it is because it is the truth. They are not suffering. And you don't see no VP and no DA meeting. A teachers them send, most of them now go. It simply means that the VP them not suffer. And if they telling us that they must suffer, I lie them tell because them get a lot of allowances and their salary is much bigger than our salary. You know, see it. And how many of us realistically as classroom teachers can elevate to VP? Not many. Some of us not even get senior position at school. Much less to become VP. So the VPs are okay. Believe me, they are okay. The ones who I work for is the band 1, band 2, band 3, band 4, band 5, and maybe band 6. But I'm not worried about no VP and no principal. I'm not worried about them because they are okay. They are okay. And if they have a band, are a bone to pick or a fight to pick with the government through their union, they need to come and make their representation. Me now represent them. Call me selfish, but I saw me look on it. Me now represent them because I am looking for my interest and for the interest of the persons who mostly affected, which is the larger majority. And that is just the reality. That's how I look at it. All right. Now I'm going to talk about the increase, because not many persons understand how this increase works. The government is saying that we're going to give you a minimum of 20% increase. People, this is a new way of how the government or how the JTA ask for the increase. They are asking for the increase on your net pay, not on your gross pay. So, the gross pay is all of your pay, including the statutory deduction, the government deduction, and your private and your personal deduction. Everything, that's your gross. So if you're getting $200,000 before tax, that is your gross. The JT is asking for a percentage on your net. So when you hear 20%, you have to look at your net pay, that is your take-home pay. But there is a difference. There's a little caveat that you need to pay attention to. It is not your net pay is not necessarily your take-home pay. Your take-home pay is a part of your net, but it is not the total net. Your total net, you never take home your total net pay. Your net pay is what you get, what the government give you, where respond, where you get in your, not necessarily in your hand, but maybe in your bank account. But you're going to have your personal deductions, like your health insurance, your savings, your loan with NHT, all of those come out of your net. So not because you're getting $50,000 a month in your savings account as your pay, word speaking, that is not your net. You'd have to take the $20,000 where you pay NHT for your mortgage, the money where you give your JTA, credit union, the money where you get your life insurance or your health insurance, if you have an insurance for your mother or your father, all of those is a part. All of your personal deductions plus part of the salary what you get in your hand or in your account is your net. The JTA is saying that is 20% of your net pay that you will end up with. So if you're taking home $100,000, you're going to take home $120,000 afterwards, after this new thing is inked. That's what they are saying. That's what Mr. Clayton Hall is saying. This is a document, a written document, and not only hearsay. So it is for the first time that the JTA is doing this sort of negotiation. Usually what we used to is to get percentage increase on our gross pay, on our gross salary. So some people are going to say, even though it's 20%, by the time you pay tax and you pay that and you pay blah, 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 we work out with about 10%. That is not the case. It is going to be on your net pay. The increase is going to be on your net pay. So just do it now. Anything where you take home now, put 20% more upon it. Minimum, means that 20% you must get, you can get more, but you're not going to get less. And the government is saying, we are going to give you a minimum of 20% when we transition you to this new wage system, right? 20%. If when them transfer you to the new thing, and you are say at 18%, the government will move you up one scale until you are at a minimum of 20. If when them do the normal transition, the ordinary transition, and you end up at 31, that's where you will stay. If when them transition and you end up at 25, that's where you will stay because you're above 20. If when them do it and you're at 32, that's where you will stay. If the government transfer and you're at 18, the government will move you up to the next scale until you're at 20, minimum 20, after the 3 years. If you're not at 20, the government will continue to move you up another scale until you're at 20. And if the government move you up and they can't move you any further on the scale, the government will say, okay then, we're going to give you a special, or what they refer to as a temporary allowance. Not a special allowance, a temporary allowance. Until, just to make you better off, to make you reach that minimum 20%. So the government, and this is something that the government of Jamaica write, it is in black and white. It's a part of the agreement that if we sign it, it becomes our new wage claim. All right? It is not me say so. It is coming from the JTA. And if you don't believe me, call Mr. Clayton Hall and he can come. Mr. Clayton Hall, I welcome you to come in my description now, in my comment section now, and tell me if I am wrong, because know I'm not wrong, because I watched you and that is what you said. Right? And that is what you said the JTA want to sign off on when the time comes, if we should sign. So nobody will be worse or off. So when you hear this thing going around, teacher talk about, oh, we're going to be worse or off and we're going to be this and we're going, it is not true. And I challenge you, it is not true. All right. Plan to not get too emotional on this. All right. So we'll talk about a lot of things tonight, and we are at the 1 hour mark now. We are at 1 hour and 4 minutes into the discussion. It was a very good, very, very, very good discussion with Miss Wright. And I want to leave, before I wrap up, I want to give some advice, right? and summarize, and then I wrap up the video. Now, when I spoke to Miss Wright earlier on, she talked about the whole thing of teacher can't be able to survive, and we can't live, and we can't this, and we can't that. No amount of money that you get is going to be enough. Teachers, I'm talking to you now. No amount of money that you get is going to be enough. You're always going to have needs. And if you, as a teacher now, if you're thinking about getting that increase to do a little bit more, to buy some clothes and to do this and to do that and to change your lifestyle, you don't bother with it. What you should do is to think about how is it that you can save some more of that money that you get. I know it's hard, I know it's hard. But when you get your richer and when you get a little increase there, if you just survive now, just go and survive from where you survive now. Because some of us don't know how to band with belly and make sacrifice so that in the next 5-6 years we can be better rather than just live free now and then 5-6 years from now we'll find ourselves in a worse position. So what you should do is to try and save a little bit more. That little extra, if you get $10 extra, save $5 out of it, save $4 out of it. So after 4 or 5 years, you can have a little money saved up over there so that you maybe can look to start a business. Some of us are teachers, we can write books, right? Jamaican teachers, we don't really write books, and some of us are so brilliant. We have so many ideas. Look at me right here with my YouTube channel. When I was starting this YouTube channel, a lot of people said, YouTube, and Kirsten T. Some of them not even subscribe. But my YouTube channel is now and it's doing well, it's growing. And this is an additional income stream for me. I am not making a lot of money from YouTube. Sometimes I make like $20 a month. And if you don't make 100 United States dollars for YouTube, YouTube don't pay you. So if you make $20 this month, I don't get paid until you reach $100. But whenever time it reach $100, I get it like in a December last year, we get $115 right down at the Christmas season when we could have used if you offset some amount of cost. You understand me? So I am saying we have to find some ways, teachers, to save more, not to spend more, because some of us just want more money so that we can spend more. We can live a better life, a quote unquote better life. We have to ban with belly with a little bit what we have. Instead of buying a car for $2 million, buy one car for $1 million. You see my car I drive is a 2008 Mazda Demio. And if me tell you how much me pay for my car, chill. They not even would have believed, don't. I mean, I tell them. Because it's not a lot of money. But some people that say, me not drive them the car there. Me not drive them the car there. Them the car, they're full car. Me want one nice car for drive because a long time me I work. And that's how we live. Sadly, that's how we live. I mean, so nobody know if you want to drive that nice car because if you're ambitious, you're ambitious. But you see, me, the boy, when you're nice called Sean Makala, me I live within my means until I can afford to buy a vehicle like that. And even when me can afford to buy it, if me can comfortably afford to buy it, because a lot of that times, you know, you get one money and you say, yeah man, me can pay the monthly fee. At $35,000 a month, man, or $40,000 a month, me can pay the car mortgage. But guess what? You don't look at the other things that come with the car. You don't look and say you have to pay $200,000 for your insurance or $150,000 for your insurance versus if you buy one little one like Fimi, you pay $30,000 for your insurance. So you're talking about $30,000 versus $150,000. And I am not here trying to trivialize teachers and their negotiation and saying that we are greedy. No, that's not the point. The point I am making is we have to look at this from the perspective in which we are and see how best we can live within that context and how we can adjust our lifestyle to survive. Because many of us want to go foreign, but when we go foreign in a contract, we go work on, you know. And foreign people, we spit in your face and you can't do nothing about it, you know. And then we call you boy and then we call you girl. Because if you take Jamaican pitney rude, foreign pitney far ruder. If there's such a word. Ruder. Right? Them rude far more than our children out here. So therefore, we have to take stock on what we are doing. Some people say, oh, I can't wait till me fly out. I can't wait till me do that. You understand me? And a lot of the teachers who are, you hear sometime I come out and talk about, teacher deserve more and teacher this and that. Some of them, if the truth be told, and I'm saying this, I'm in a care. You know, I'm in a care. If the truth be told, many of those teachers are not offering the value to the student in which they were employed to offer. Them not do it. But as salary come about, you hear them jump up on the bandwagon. We need this and we need that and we need this and them need the most things. But when the government want the value for the money, they are not even say the government, the students, because we don't serve government, the students we serve, the nation's children we serve. Them short change the picnic them. They tell you that. Some of them go to school and they go no class. It's just the truth. And if we're going to talk the truth, we have to talk the truth right across the board. If you're going to knock government, we have to knock government. If you have to knock teachers, you have to knock teachers. If you have to knock principal, you knock principal. Every stakeholder, you have to knock them. And me, I tell you that from a teacher because sometimes me depend on the ground and me see it happen with me, yeah, them at 18 plus years me are doing education. So I know. So you have some teachers who are not giving the children value for money. They're not giving the taxpayers of Jamaica value for money. And they are the first one to come out and ball and want to strike and want to sit in and do all that manner of evil things when it comes down to salary. We deserve more. Don't forget. We agree to that. But in the context in which we are, right, we have to look at everything, not in a vacuum, but together and say, can the government realistically offer more at this time? And I don't think the government can. I don't think so. So make we take it and make when Wednesday come, we vote yes and we accept. And when next negotiation cycle come again, we go back to the drawing, we go back to the table and we act and we bargain again. I saw the collective bargaining process work everywhere in the world. Some people are going to say, oh, me now take that the 20% or the 30% there. That's enough. Most me will take, minimum me will take a 50% or 40%. You never ask for that. You can't move the goalpost in the middle of the match. I know how it works. It's a totally different wage claim you talk about now. It's a totally different thing and we are where we are. The JTA have that 8-point thing when they put to the government. The government say we will give you 5. We concede on 5. We have 3 outstanding, right? So we can't just dash out everything, man. We can't dash out the baby with the bath water. We can't. So if we not go, vote no for the 3 things that we have outstanding. Then vote no for the 3 things that we have outstanding. But at the end of the day, when the government say no, we can't give it them, and we end up agreeing to it at the end of the day. Because we still have to agree now. Whether we like it or not, we have to agree. Because we have to agree because the government said them not have no more. And if it end up at the industrial tribunal or wherever, they are going to look at the other public sector group and say, well, they have signed off, so why you teachers can't sign off? And these are the things that you ask for. Or we ask for them, you know. We asked for these things at the last general conference and the government conceded and 5. We have 3 outstanding. 3 out of 5. And we are here where we are now. I go say, we not going to accept and we not going to sign. For what? For what? And remember me telling you, teachers, if the government owe you 200,000 out of retroactive salary from last year, the 200,000 last year have a different value this year than last year. Maybe it will value $180,000. So you're going to lose every year or every month that you wait on that money. You are losing money based on the inflation. So the 200,000 last year, you have 20,000 less. And if you make it wait till next year, remember the government Minister of Finance say, oh, he might the next one too, Because the teachers already said that, But me understand why I'm saying. Him say, we're not going to be able to pay you that lump sum or that retroactive salary until maybe 2024, 2025. We have to stretch it out because the budget as it is now cannot afford to do it. Some people come out and say, then what about supplementary budget and blah, blah, blah. Yes, government can have supplementary budget, of course, and they can pay it. So I think that the government minister was just using that as a bargaining chip to force the teachers and to accept. I just saw it go. People play them cards. It's like a game of chess. So the government is playing its hand, the teachers are playing their hand. Now, longer we wait, the less money we're going to get, as I tell you. Because inflation is calculated, or it's running now at about 9%. So if you take 9% from that, then you would have lost money. So the longer we wait, the more money we're going to lose. Right? So we'll just accept it. And coming Wednesday, guys, let's go vote and accept it. Right? I voted to accept in my DA. Right? And some persons, majority voted no. So it is what it is. I don't know if this is the temperature for the entire parish, but if it is, then we are at a sad place. It means that coming month we're not getting a retro. Coming next month we're not getting a retro. And we don't know when we're going to get our retroactive a little salary. We don't know. Right? And one thing we can't tell you, Me and I call Sean Makala, now I'm going to strike. I am going to work every single day. I'm going to strike. Because I don't see why we are striking. I don't see it. So, if we're not going to take industrial action and sit in and do all type of these things, all type of things, I am not going to take part in it. Right? Because I think that the offer with the government, that where we are now, it's fair. My opinion, my take. You don't have to believe what I said, but that is what I believe. Right? And I hope that I have shed some lights on some of the things that you are not clear on, so that you are much clearer now. And you can always go in the comment section, drop your comment, and I will respond to them accordingly. And we can talk. You can put in your input. And as I say, I invite Mr. Clayton Hall from the JTA to come over and to verify some of the things that I have said here tonight, because I know me not really say nothing that the JTA is not saying, the head of the JTA that is. All right? The last thing that I want to say, I think the JTA is flawed in how it's conducts it's voting. Look how them do it now, people. Them have the DA, which is the district association. So you have the DA, and the DA have the different schools that are a part of the DA. Them say when you're going to vote on a salary, a wage offer or whatever, you, the members of the JTA, which is the teachers, should go to your DA meeting and they vote. Each day have 15 delegates. So, for example, for you to have a vote, you have to have a minimum of 7 schools. So in your DA, in my DA is 19 schools, right? So if you have a minimum of 7 schools attending, they can vote. Below that, then you're going to have a little problem. So then put it at, say, 7. So if you have a minimum of 7 schools representing at that meeting to vote. Now, last Friday we voted. And say, for example, 15% say accept, 20% say decline. My question is, how do the delegate vote when they go to the general conference? Oh, remember, no, they get a consensus to say no, because it is the majority persons who say no. My question is, how the delegates vote? Do they vote based on their personal feelings or preference? Or they vote in block to say the St. Catherine, whatever, DA, majority voted no, and so therefore all 15 of us will vote no. Mr. Clayton or anybody in the JT, tell me how that works, because I am not sure how that works, because how I understand it to be, how it will be fair, is if we as the teachers in the DA vote at the meeting to say yes, majority say yes, I think all the delegates should line up behind the yes and vote yes. If the delegates would be, you don't think so too? If the delegates is going to vote on their personal feelings, then where does the vote of the ordinary teachers fall, our members fall? You understand what I'm saying? And I think, thanks for the information. I agree with what you are saying. I said yes long time. All right, good. Right? I think that if it is the other way around, where even though the members of the DA voted no, for example, last Friday they voted no in my DA, and the delegates are going to conference and they are going to vote on their individual feeling, personal preference, then we, the members, it's no longer void. Our voice not heard. Because at the end of the day, it's just what the delegates say, and I think that is where you have the disconnect in the JTA. The larger majority, which is the foot soldiers, want the agreement, and the delegates are the one, I think, who don't want it. Right? And I am putting it to you that if that is not the way it is, challenge me on it. Mr. Clayton Hall, tell me. Message me privately. My email is in my description on my YouTube channel. Email me. Tell me how the system works, because I'm asking the question, and when I research on the internet, there's no information. Right? I never called JTA because I did not have the time when I was preparing for this video to call the JTA. Right? And at the JTA, people busy. Salary thing now, so people busy. So I am inviting you, Mr. Clayton Hall, to tell me if it is that when you vote as a member in the DA, if it is the majority mandate that the delegates vote with, do they vote in block, which I think is the way to go, because then they will be representing the majority, don't it, Chin? If they vote in block, if they all line up behind the yes, or they are going to be left to vote based on their personal feelings. Because if it is their personal feelings, then my vote would not it don't make no sense. It don't have a say. I don't technically have a say. You understand me? Because ultimately it is the delegates, the thousand something delegates, and them vote, and them accept yes or no. I always ask how we truly know what we voted for is what the delegates truly say are just their opinion. Thank you for the information. Exactly, that is my question. If we give them a remember on Friday we have our DA meeting and the mandate was, the general consensus was no. Me feel away because me I say everybody I go vote yes, or most people go vote yes, but people say no. And for some reason when I did my invest, I didn't want to bring that up in this video, you know, because people are going to understand now and the people are going to identify and know. I mean, I'm not nobody. But trust me, I realized at that point that some of the persons who voted no not even did understand why they vote no. They had no information as to why. In other words, their vote was either not even misinformed but uninformed. Best they open a poll and allow all members to vote. That's what I say too. Always ask. Good, read it already. You better open a vote, a poll. It's easy. You go online, you register your members. All your members are registered as teachers. They get their registration or they get their ID. And when the time comes to vote, you log into a portal and you vote. It's better that way. So forth. So therefore, all the members of the fraternity now, their voices will be heard. Because at the end of the day, I think it is the delegates, the delegates who are holding this thing. It's them. Because I don't think they are lining up behind the majority of the persons in their DA to vote in black. They are not voting in black. And if they are not voting in black, and the reason why I said this, when we had our DA meeting, people came, I'm talking about delegates, persons who are delegates, came in that meeting with a preconceived notion. They have their mind made up. Their mind make up already so they are going to vote no. So it doesn't matter what we discussed on each at that meeting. Their mind wouldn't change. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And so therefore it makes no sense if we are going to vote as a teacher at the DA to instruct our delegate, to give them a mandate to say vote and they are not voting in black. They're supposed to vote in black. That means that when we read the JTA minutes, we're supposed to say, DA, St. Catherine, not DA, voted in black. Say yes or no. You get what I'm saying? All say no or all say yes. It cannot be left on the feeling of the delegate. It can't be. Can't be. Because these delegates are going to hold the majority of us at ransom. They are. And that's what they are doing so far. So, Mr. Clayton, I think that is a deficiency. That is an area in the JTA that needs some form of fixing. If we are going to work as a truly democratic organization, the majority of members' voice need to be heard. And that is why we have that disconnect where people say, I'm going to withdraw my membership because they are not feeling as if they are being listened to. They are being listened to. Right? That is where we have the disconnect between the members and the delegates. The delegates are doing what they want to do. Because I saw on Friday where the delegates do. Them just want to do what they want to do. Regardless of what we, the members, want to put forward. They are just going to do what they want to do at the end of the day, and that is the problem. Plus, some schools don't have any active teacher rep and don't even, what does that mean? True. Them have none at all. Some schools have no, and so therefore things are going on at the JTA, right? And there's no rep from the school, so that school no hear nothing want to go on. You as a teacher, you don't know who to go to, right? So there's a breakdown also. And who to be blamed? You have to blame the schools. You have to blame the schools. Because the school's supposed to organize, the staff supposed to organize and put their best person forward to be their JTA rep in a seat. And if that is not the case, then you're going to be left in the dark. Pay cycle after pay cycle, negotiations after negotiations. And that is just the sad reality. So we have a lot of deficiencies to deal with in the JTA. And I hope at the end of this discussion, it can fall on the ears who it need to fall on. Because as a peanut dreaded I say, in the video them, those who have eyes to see, let them see. And those who have ears to hear, let them hear. But somehow we hard and tough up ourselves and sick and I hear and we still not listen. And we still have pretend like we don't see. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. And that is my advice. My advice is for us as teachers to live a little bit more, a little bit more conservative. And I know we have been doing that. And see what we can save and see how we can invest. There are a lot of investment out there, where we don't know about. Sometimes I not even know about them too, but doing my own research, you can open a little YouTube channel, you can go in a little Barreta investment. Some people think you have like a 50, 60, 100,000 or 200,000 invest. You can start with $20,000, do a little investment, watch it grow. You understand me? So true, and persons cry reject with a bag of negative and the majority run with it, not knowing why. Of course, Nicola Price. Thank you very much, Nicola. You understand? See how best you can invest. See how you can start a little online business. See, you understand what I'm saying? If you're a teacher, see if you can write some books. You may be a science teacher. Monetize your skill. Monetize your skill, teachers. You have to learn to monetize your skill. It's like how you get monetization on YouTube. Stop ball out and say government need to give you this and they need to give you that. Whatever they are giving you, try and make it work for you and try and invest some of it so that you can make yourself better off. I just saw it go. Me buy also that teaching, And me buy one little car out of teaching. So me can't complain at the end of the day. Say, nothing go on and nothing this and nothing that. You have to make it go on for yourself. And don't get trapped in loan. That is my last thing to your teachers. You are going to say JT run come to your credit union. You are going to say tip run come to you. You are going to say NCB. NCB send me an email or there so I can get $780,000 just by clicking a link and putting a code. No need to come into branch and just click accept. Loan them and give me $700,000. Now if you go take $700,000 loan, if you go put me in a whole problem with NCB, so them have to go get bail if you take my money and take my things from me. Think some of we take loan without even wanting nothing to do with it. Just take it because you go bank a give you. And then you find yourself the credit card is the other one. When you get credit card, I want to buy this, I want to buy that, I want to buy this, I want to go on Instagram, I want to go on every little thing I want to say I sell on to buy. And you go on eBay, and you go on where next one name Amazon. And you shop till you drop. And you go on Forever 21 and you buy nice things them. Nothing is wrong with buying nice things. But save for it. Save for it. Structure your life some more. And that is why I say me at my school, it's especially the young teacher man them, the man teacher them. Women too, but especially man teacher them because me look out for them, look out for my male teachers, especially ones that when we used to teach. Like Donaldson, big up yourself. Him can tell you, me guide them, me offer guidance to them. So no falling in the same trap of me falling with this bag of loan and the bag of credit card, and that is what led the teachers to be in the situation where they are now. Because if you ask most teachers, when you go at most of the bank place them, you see them line up and take loan. And some of the times they don't need to take the loan because all you need to do is band your belly and save your money. Do a partner. With that's why all the little things in with Jamaican partner where we usually go in, right? Where you put your money around us with the partner lady. And if you don't trust people in the way they credit union, they have them partner. Where you pay your money a month time, you do it by salary deduction and it going out, and when it materializes and you get your harvest, you draw the money there and you can use the money there and invest. You buy some stocks and you buy some shares over there. So people may even talk about stocks and shares and think of big money. And a big money, $200,000, $150,000. You can invest. Because me tell you already, say money in the bank is not good. When you save money, inflation the amount of all of that the money they will have. So you look increase where bank gear, look reward and extra what you call interest where bank gear. It's nothing. Bank gear 2% and 3% interest when inflation around 8 and 5 and 7%. How it go? You know say you lose money. So every year you lose money on your savings and you don't even know that. Rather than if you take that savings and invest it and diversify your investment. Alright? I'm not talking about like stocks and limited over there. So. You diversify. As your granny does it, don't put your egg in one basket. So you have more than one little thing and you have multiple sources or streams of income. Once you do that, see the people, they sell honey because I do honey, like bees wearing. Marie Coke, there is no problem with loans, but you can't default on your loan and don't pay the minimum on your credit card. That is true. But guess what, miss? That is what is happening to us because the people who are giving us the loan, they are hoping that we're going to default on it. You see, the credit card people and the loan people know that we're going to default, because they only make their money when we default on the loan. I am not knocking loan. Loan is a good thing. It's a good facility. It's there. But I'm saying only take loan if you're going to use that money to invest. So that when you invest, those returns can be greater than the interest that you're paying on the loan. But you can't take loan for just to buy a nicer car while you're driving a car already. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is no, okay, good. You know what I'm saying? You're driving a nice car. I'm driving a little car. And because me get a little increase now from government now, the bank said, Mr. Makala, you qualify, you can get one newer car, Sell the one we have, man, and come in and get it. And now I am going to increase now my cost of living now by maybe a 50 or extra $60,000, which we might pay just increase by 40,000 in a cheap. And by just the act of buying a new car, I am now paying $50,000. $10,000 more than when we get. So I am $10,000 worse now, you know. But I am driving a better car, quote unquote better car. And you're paying more in insurance, you're paying more in registration, you're paying more in this, in for license, you're paying more for tire, you're paying more in maintenance, everything. You understand me? Which way you have a nice little car where you could panga with. You understand what I mean? Look at Scotty Kilmer. Scotty Kilmer is a YouTuber, millionaire, and he's driving a 1994 Celica. 1994 Celica. He's a millionaire, right? But the man is just frugal, and the man is just, you know, conservative. You know, I'm thinking and say, my car is working. I don't need to buy this expensive car. I'm not gonna buy it. Some people just buy because they can buy. You understand what I'm saying? You go out because you can go out. Every month you want to go somewhere nice because you wanna, you know, totally agree with you. You can borrow, but do so wisely. Except exactly, Tracy. Thanks for that. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna wrap up the discussion now. Now I make the video too long because afterwards the video will go live and will be available on YouTube for people to watch. So I don't want to have 2 hours of the video. You know what I'm saying? We are listening to what offers say what we can afford. Yes, definitely Miss Marie Coke. And thanks to my subscribers and the viewers and the persons who take the opportunity to come out tonight and to participate. Those who are watching but they are in the background and they are not commenting, I know that you are there, you know, right? Thanks to you also. And for those who commented and take part in the discussion, thanks. And especially thanks to Chanel, right? Big up on yourself. And people, remember now, the JTA will vote on Wednesday at the Michael University College. That's where they will be at. And Wednesday, the delegates will go to either reject the offer or to accept the offer. In my opinion, I think they should accept, right? But we're a democratic organization, and if they choose to reject, what can I do? But if they're going to say that we should go for industrial action, I am not going to take part in it because I am a fair man, and I think this offer is fair going forward. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. Good night. How do you end the live? Are you sure you want